Hey everybody, Black Ninja 797 here, and welcome back to another video. And today's video, this is going to be episode 3 of my brand new series, If It Were Different. For those of you guys that are new around here and are new to this channel, welcome. I hope you guys end up enjoying your stay. And basically, what this series is that this is a series where I look at the potential outcomes, or different outcomes rather, of media-based things, such as movies, TV shows, video games, books, etc., etc., etc. So I'm going to be wanting to talk about an alternate outcome or a different type of look for one of my favorite personal movie series, which is the Marvel Universe. So now keep in mind is that there is two things I want to clarify. Is that number one is that when it comes to this theory, is that this theory is going to be more opinion-based than factual, because when you try to get into the nitty-gritty details about time travel and time warping and all that stuff, like there's so many different theories out there, and since time travel literally doesn't exist and this is like trying to argue something that's just made up, please don't go in the comments section basically saying, well, technically if you do this, if you divide x divided by the square root of my ass, like, this is all in good fun, so just don't put up a fight about it, okay? Like, this is all about something that doesn't even actually exist. This is about a movie, so don't go into detail about it because time travel doesn't exist, okay? Because it's a very convoluted thing. The second thing is I want to say is that I want to admit something right here, right now, so there is no misunderstandings, that I actually am a fan of the series Marvel, like the Marvel Universe, but I'm a little bit out of practice. The way that it is for me is that I've liked Marvel and superheroes in general since I was a kid, but unfortunately I did one of the things, which was I grew up for a short period of time. I actually skipped some Marvel movies and I've only just recently started catching up. I have seen the main ones for the direct point of this theory, but I have missed some, which would include some such things as Thor 2 and 3, both of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, the original Hulk movie, stuff like that. I've seen all the Avengers, I've seen all the Iron Man movies, I've seen all the Captain America movies, I've seen the one-offs like Doctor Strange, I've also watched some of the other movies as well. Like, I've seen pretty much most, if not a majority of the Marvel movies at this point. I am still working towards that. I've seen Ant-Man 2, but I didn't see Ant-Man 1. I'm trying to catch up, okay? So cut me some slack. This is all in good fun, and don't take it too seriously, because I feel like this is one of those things that it's just like that. But I just want to get that out of the way. Anyways, enough with the mild, I guess, like, whatever that was. I just wanted to end up just introducing myself. Like I said, my name is Black Ninja 797, and I'm basically a dude that just wants to just sit here and just chill and have fun, talk about video games, movies, and TV shows, and books, and the occasional sexual jokes. So, I hope you enjoy your stay. Anyways, let's begin with the actual theory. So I want to talk about Avengers End Game, and if you haven't seen Avengers End Game, it's been a year from now. Since it's released, so if you haven't seen it, well, that's kind of on you, because I feel like there's plenty of time that's like saying, like, oh, because you haven't seen Star Wars and I said that Luke Skywalker is the son of Darth Vader, that you got offended. I mean, like, that was like several years ago. I mean, like, come on. So if you haven't seen it, just this is your warning now, but give me a break if you haven't seen it yet. Okay, so anyways, now let's begin with the actual, like, video, because, like, I got into a mild rant here, Jesus Christ. But basically, what I wanted to talk about is that I want to talk about how that, yes, you heard me right, you can bring back Iron Man into the Marvel Universe. So Iron Man is obviously the one character that everyone was very heartbroken and gut-wrenched about what happened in Avengers End Game. You know, Iron Man, you know, snapping, you know, his hand and causing the universe to be saved, in turn causes death. And that broke a lot of people's hearts, including myself, because, like, the thing is, when it comes to Iron Man or Tony Stark, I never really thought that he was, like, someone that I could honestly relate to or, like, empathize with, because he just honestly seemed like a cocky, arrogant asshole. Like, even as a kid, I kind of knew he was a cocky, arrogant asshole, but he was still a good guy at heart. He obviously was still a superhero, but he had a massive ego. And over time, I've come to learn to respect him, because he went from very cocky, arrogant asshole to very loving and kindly, just heartwarming human being. Like, the fact that he went from Avengers, you know, 1 to Avengers End Game with how his persona is. I mean, hell, even things like Iron Man 1 to Avengers End Game, like, his personality just changed for the better, and he actually just became such a better, and, like, he became a true hero, literally. And so I actually am a little bit heartbroken that he actually ended up dying. But there's one thing a lot of people don't talk about that I've noticed, is that a lot of people say, like, oh yeah, you know, you could bring back Iron Man this way, yada yada yada. Nobody really talks about, like, alternate dimension theories, which is the main idea about this. Is that, like, a lot of people were talking about, like, how to bring back the actual dead Iron Man, but if you take Doctor Strange's quote where he basically said that like there's only one outcome where they win out of like several jillions basically, like there's literally no way that they could actually legit bring back the original Tony unless you do some very weird convoluted stuff that I cannot squeeze into a 10-minute video. Maybe if you want me to elaborate on more I can, but I am literally not a Marvel fanatic. I watch Marvel casually, so I would not be able to go into this much detail, nor am I a science geek, but unless you want to get very convoluted, I'm pretty sure there's legit no way you can bring back the actual Tony, because like it was the one outcome. Like, you know, Doctor Strange looked at all the visions, and if you changed anything, like such as like an End Game when Tony asks if they win, if they do this, he said he couldn't say because it would change the outcome. Simply just Doctor Strange saying if they win changes the whole entire outcome of their actual story. That's just such a big thing for such a minor detail that, like, if you wanted to go back in the past and try to save Tony, they might not win. They might lose to Thanos again, and then Thanos might kill the whole entire universe. Or maybe they could just go back to where the beginning of Endgame was, where he only just snapped just the once, and only half of reality was phased away. Like, there's so many different like outcomes that you can think of, but why does nobody talk about alternate dimension theories and bringing back like an alternate Tony? Like, for example, like there's an alternate Gamora. Like, nobody mentions the fact that Gamora is back as like a second version. Like, nobody's just like, oh, rip Gamora, she was like one of the best characters. Like, nobody gives a shit about Gamora. Like, I've noticed that a lot. Is that, like, in my personal opinion, no one cares. I mean, like, Gamora's death was definitely sad, don't get me wrong, but, like, everyone obviously like, cared more about Tony or Iron Man. It's kind of like in The Walking Dead when Glenn died, and it overshadowed, you know, Abraham's death, because Abraham was a character that was cool, and his death just basically got overlooked because of Glenn. So I feel like that Gamora's death was kind of overlooked because of Iron Man's. But, like, think about it this way. If you look at Gamora's death and then look at Iron Man's death, whether you like the character or not, you gotta really think in your head just being like, if they can bring back a different Gamora, then why can't they just bring back a different Iron Man? I know that sounds just kind of more blunt and just obvious than it should sound, but I mean, really think about it. Think about it truly. Like, they're obviously, like, not afraid to bring back, you know, Tony or Iron Man or Robert Downey Jr. into other themes for the Marvel movies. I mean, for example, he's going to be having a part in the Black Widow movie that's going to be coming out this year. So, like, they're obviously not truly done with him. And, like, everyone still loves Iron Man. And I feel like almost his death actually amplified his character's hype even more further, just because now everyone's just like, oh yeah, guys, he's dead. Like, it's when anytime that somebody dies, they're automatically a lot more desired and a lot more popular because they're not going to be involved in anything anymore. Like, that's the case with music, that's the case with celebrities, that's the case with stories, everything. When someone's dead, it's done, and therefore they're more desired because they're rare. They're not going to be there anymore, or so we think. And so I was thinking to myself that, like, okay, if you take somebody like Gamora and you have like the past version of themselves being brought back and it doesn't really exactly mess up the timeline too much, why can't they just do that with Tony? Like, why can't they just bring back a Tony from like the you know, the Iron Man series, or Tony from like the previous Avengers movie, like the Infinity War Tony, or I mean, hell, even the early Endgame Tony? Like, why can't you bring back an alternate reality Tony? Like, for example, Doctor Strange looked at several different outcomes, but can't he look into several different realities? Like, if the alternate dimensions theory works in the Marvel Universe, which I think it does, you could theoretically have infinite outcomes for infinite decisions. Which means that there is literally a version of you for every little minor thing that you do in your whole entire life. Like, for example, there is literally another you in another universe just because, like, you decide to go from anywhere extreme to, like, let's say, you know, you dying a certain way to a minor thing like you sneezing. Like, for example, like, you sneezing at a certain time compared to a different time is literally its own decision to make it warrants its own reality. Like, that's just ludicrous to think. Like it's a slight different you, but it's mostly you. And then there's the much more extreme versions. Like, there's sometimes an alternate dimension where you're a different gender, or you're a different race, or you're a different age, you know, but, like, it's weird to think that. And so I think if you just slip in that minor detail, you can just be like, oh, hey guys, Tony's back, he's just from the year 2008. It's just like, I think that'd be an easy way to kind of like scapegoat the fact that Iron Man's dead and just be able to still get better marketing. And I feel like I wouldn't put this past Disney or Marvel. Like, I feel like they would definitely do it. But, like, for me personally, I mean, I like Iron Man, and I like, you know, his character. Robert Downey Jr. obviously is a really cool guy, and he plays a very good character. In fact, Robert Downey Jr., just the way that you look at his story and relate to Iron Man, it's like definitely like actually a really cool similarities. That you notice that Robert Downey Jr. goes from drug addicted to basically a failure, you know, in his beginning stage of his life, and then he finally gets a break and he ends up becoming like one of the most iconic people in the whole entire like world. And same thing with Iron Man, like he becomes this douchey, arrogant, cocky asshole to like literally the hero of the universe. Like I feel like there's a cool parallel with Robert Downey Jr. and his character Iron Man in that sense. So I mean, like a lot more people would want to see that and just be like, well, if people want to see it, and Disney's greedy, like we all know they are, why not just give the people what they want and bring back an alternate reality Tony, even if it's timeline-wise in the same universe or if it's just a different universe altogether, because you could easily do it. I mean, it's like they have the machine, they have the time travel machine still there. It's not like they destroyed it. I never saw anything in Endgame about them destroying the time machine at all. I never saw that. And Ant-Man and, the Hulk and everybody is smart and they're all scientists, and combined with Doctor Strange's magic, it's just like, why not? Like, at this point, why not? Like, I feel like it's more of a fan service at this point than a logical sense, but I mean, like, would you guys honestly want Iron Man back if you could? I mean, for me personally, I would. I mean, like, sure, it's a scapegoat around his death, but, like, people have done that so many times, it's just beyond ridiculous. That, like, I think it's more about having fun than taking it seriously. That's just my humble opinion. So, this is kind of a more casual look at it, I guess. I could be a lot more convoluted, like I said, but it's just all a bit fun. Anyways, guys, I hope you ended up enjoying. If you did, please make sure you drop a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. My channel's been doing fantastic, and the momentum has been great. So if you can keep up the momentum for me and do those, that'd be tremendously appreciated. And let me know what you guys want to see for the next episode, if it were different. I hope you guys ended up enjoying. Let me know if you want to see some more Marvel stuff in the future. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and peace out.